Hello and welcome to Middle Class Film Class Podcast. My name is Joseph.
I'm Peter.
I'm Tyler. Hold on, let's start that one over again. I thought I
you're going
up on that.
I'm going first for both segments.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Hello and welcome to Middle Class Film Class Podcast. My name is Joseph.
I'm Peter.
I'm Tyler.
And this week, the Wheel of Destiny landed on my pick, the Square.
Want to take that again?
I forgot the name of the movie.
the Art Monkey movie. All right. Take 3.
Hello and welcome to Middle Class Film Class Podcast. My name is Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
And this week, the Wheel of Destiny landed on my pick, The Square.
What are the biggest challenges in running a museum?
We're a museum of modern and contemporary art, so we need to present art that is the art of today, art that is absolutely cutting edge, and the competition is fierce. If you place an object in a museum, for instance, if we took your bag and placed it here, would that make it art?
Ah.
Yep.
That's it?
Yeah, there was a lot to the trailer, just like there's a lot to the movie.
There's a lot and also not a lot.
Yeah, it was a very interesting and weird, for sure, movie. That I'm interested to hear what you guys thought about it because I wasn't sure what to think.
I wrestled with this one for sure. This was a challenging movie to absorb and want to talk about because there's a lot of things in my head, but hard to
gather all of them together.
Hard to vocalize it.
So many different directions this movie took.
Yeah.
So many different elements to it. But we will get into that. But first,
Are you ready, kids?
Yes, sir. Aye, sir.
I can't hear you.
Aye, sir.
Oh!
Now's the time for gab and chatter.
oh,
Yes.
any news, movie, or media related news to talk about?
I have some emails from listeners that I've been wanting to read.
Cool.
I don't
Oh,
really.
so they finally took our advice because they're not. You guys aren't doing anything. Just write us.
They're listening. So I have an email from superfan Brendan Beal, who's he's written into Tyler on the Instagram page, and he sent an email.
This is for you, Brendan.
Yeah. So Brendan writes, "Hey, I just wanted to send a message to whoever checks this account and say that I love the last episode. That was the border episode. I don't expect a shout out, but I do want your podcast to last a very long time. Please make this happen. Let me know if there's anything we as fans can do to help your podcast grow."
Yeah, give us money.
You don't have to give us money. You can if you want. If you see Tyler on the street and you want to give him $2, please do.
Yeah, just slip me what you got.
But no, Brendan raises a great point. To help the podcast grow, really all you guys have to do is tell your friends. If you have a movie loving friend or podcast friend that you know listens to podcasts or enjoys watching movies and talking about them, recommend us. And also go on your podcast streaming service of choice and recommend us there, rate us, give us a 5-star review or a 1-star review, whatever you think. And
we're a 5-star podcast.
And it's and maybe leave a comment. You know, we're on YouTube now. We're uploading all the audio tracks to YouTube. We've had Brianna, is my girlfriend I've spoken of many times. She's got a degree in graphic design, and she's worked us up a new logo that we're not sure if we're 100% done with yet, but it looks pretty great. So, we're using that as a backdrop for the new YouTube channel. I mean, you could share those, tell your friends, but add us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, Spotify, whatever. And Brendan continues. Also, in an effort to figure out an interesting movie that you guys haven't seen, have you checked out Ricky O, The Story of Ricky? It's an over-the-top martial arts movie with an insane amount of gore, but it's a funny gore. Anyways, keep it up. Can't wait for Cats. So,
Oh God.
I hope that Brendan
Cats.
and all of the other listeners out there enjoyed Cats.
Ooh.
I had fun with that one.
That was a fun one.
I have to say that I'm glad that we're not watching Cats this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Express how happy I am to not have to ever watch that movie again.
It's like a badge of honor almost. Like you just say like, I saw Cats. All right.
They should
I saw
create,
it.
They should create some merchandise, some T-shirts and buttons that say "I survived Tom Hooper's Cats."
I watched Cats, and all I got was emotionally scarred.
Yeah.
I watched Cats, and all I got was this shitty T-shirt.
I emotionally scarred in this T-shirt.
Yeah. On the topic of Cats, though, we were talking with me and Joseph were talking with our buddy Ryan, who's he's got a musical background. He likes musicals.
Wow, color me shocked.
He's a theater geek at heart. I think
Color me surprised. Ryan is a theater nerd.
Ryan is a self-proclaimed theater nerd, and he talked to us about Cats for a little bit, and we were quoting what's the guy, Rum Tug Tugger, and we're trying to figure out which one he is, and Ryan's like, I think that's the magician cat, and Joseph goes, that's Mr. Mistopheles. And the fact that we can now know that Mr. Mistopheles is the magic cat, and Mr. McCavity is the evil villain cat is it's a low point in my life. So we're out here taking bullets for you listeners.
Yeah.
So
watching movies that you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
We watched was like, you don't have to.
Although you should watch it with the commentary.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, please watch this movie with our commentary.
Commentary was very fun. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there and like comic groups that will do commentaries in this nature, but I know generally they'll charge extra for them. We're not really in the business of that. We just want you guys.
Not yet.
Not until we're so famous. No, but no, it was very fun. I listened to the commentary by itself just to see if it stands up without actually having the movie on. It was still pretty funny, but it's also just talking shit with two of my good friends, so it was different.
It was good, and just expect more commentaries coming out of this show.
Keep a lookout. We already got a potential movie
on the
for our next commentary
it's not a
track.
potential.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You can't stop this plane.
Okay, so then I had another listener email. This is actually from my mother dearest, Laura Lovelace. Thank you for writing in.
Miss Lovelace.
Yes. She says, hello, podcast team. I just finished listening to your Dunkirk episode, and I feel fortunate that I was able to see the movie in theaters in IMAX when it was when life was sweeter.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about how this would have been a great theater experience. At least I did.
Yeah. Joseph, you saw it in IMAX, right?
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah,
Sweden.
yeah. I saw IMAX here in America, and then I just saw it in a not quite an IMAX theater, but it was a bigger theater than our standard like American theater.
Sure.
Yeah.
So she continues, I enjoyed your insights as usual, and I couldn't help of thinking of the movie Atonement. Have you guys seen that? I love that.
I've seen clips of that movie.
Atonement. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the first half, and then I've seen the last half, and I've seen it bits and pieces in between. I don't think I've sat down start to finish and watched it, but it's one that Breeze recommended to me, and I think we've watched it together, bits and pieces of it. It was pretty interesting.
It's a different take on. I mean, it's a love story, and then Dunkirk is involved, and it's more of a. Saving
it's
Private
actually
Ryan.
okay.
Yeah, it follows a specific, like a person or persons.
It's James McAvoy and Keira Knightley.
It is young Charles Xavier.
Yep.
There's a great beach shot on there that is kind of
the one take
Yeah,
beach
it's like
shot.
a really long oneer of the beach. It's pretty impressive. Just for that, it's worth watching it. But so she writes, I love that movie because it's a part period piece glimpse into the class system of pre-World War I England, but also shows the horror of war that gets glossed over in most other war movies from lots of different perspectives. I love your show. I keep sharing it on Facebook. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate that.
Aw.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's another
Mama.
way you can support
Mama
the show.
Pete.
Share it on Facebook. Share it.
I feel like she's my mom too.
She's a mother hen to all.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you. And I have not seen Ricky O, the Legend of Ricky Brendan, and I'm gonna try to track that down because it seems to be hard to find.
Brendan, I have a movie. We were just talking about Japanese shock movies as that genre, and I had mentioned a movie that I saw that was recommended to me by a coworker of mine called Dead or Alive. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it.
It's not based off of the volleyball beach game.
No.
Beach volleyball game.
No.
Okay.
From what I'm gathering from Ricky O, it's probably the same style, same type of over the top
gore and shockness.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, I would recommend it. And if you have seen it, please email your thoughts to mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, everyone. So that's all I got. I don't have any news. I just wanted to share the emails that we've got from listeners and fans and encourage people. Keep writing in if you have movie suggestions. Just make it on the wheel. You never know.
Cool.
Right. Cool. I got two. I guess I do have news related stuff to share, but I have opinions along with these news articles. So first and foremost, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are going to direct The Martian, which, if you guys haven't already forgotten about it, which 99% of the population has, they already made a Martian movie with Matt Damon, which wasn't that bad, actually.
Best comedy of the Golden Globes.
Yeah, it was a very funny movie.
No. It wasn't, like, visually it was appealing. Matt Damon did a fine job
playing another astronaut.
When his potato crop gets destroyed, I was heartbroken for him.
Yeah, that was really I thought it was a great movie. So when I heard that they're not redoing it, but they're making a new one.
It's a book. It's a book, though.
Yeah,
right?
it's based off of Andy Weir's book called The Martian.
And that's what Lord and Miller are doing, is the same property.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's from what I get. That's from what I've read from this article. That's what they're doing.
Is it going to be Lego
you heard it here
the Martian?
First, maybe.
The Lego Martian.
I just kind of fucked myself here. It's not actually The Martian.
What?
Upon further inspection, this is a classic misreading of, as you guys already know, I'm like half illiterate, so it's actually a sequel to The Martian, and Ryan Gosling is somehow going to be in it. I don't know. Well, so it kind of fucks my whole opinion about how
That's okay.
It kind of fucks my whole opinion because I was gonna comment on like how like I'm sick of seeing like movies being made that ignore the movies that are already in place. Like for example, the Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think who was it? It was like Garland. No,
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, yeah, that's who it was. He played Spider-Man, and he's all right. Like, he wasn't my favorite.
He wasn't Tobey Maguire.
That's very true. Yeah, no, those Sam Raimi Spider-Mans are a national treasure. But so you have the Andrew Garfield series, and then they completely just like, I think it was like Sony was just like, oh, fuck this, like.
Yeah.
Marvel.
'Cause Sony owns Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then Marvel takes that one kid who makes him Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Holland, and he makes the new Spider-Man, and it felt really like it just felt very. It didn't sit right with me how like they had like the Amazing Spider-Man, going.
It
was
wasn't
strong.
it wasn't what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's like the Incredible Hulk until they landed on Mark Ruffalo.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
They had
one.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton was
Eric
in it.
Bana.
Yeah, I was gonna say Eric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Directed by Ang Lee.
Yeah, that movie gets too much shit. All right, so anyways, that kind of fucks over that.
I think we should talk for 30 minutes about how big the Hulk gets in the Ang Lee version of the Incredible Hulk.
Dude, he's swole, dude.
He gets like the size of a small moon. Anyways, I digress.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I liked Edward Norton as the Hulk.
Oh yeah, Edward Norton. He's got acting chops. Like he's good. I think he does.
I think Mark Ruffalo is the worst Hulk.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
All right, that is a hot take. Edward Norton, I think he does well as a standalone Hulk, but I think Mark Ruffalo does a fine job of doing it for the series.
I just don't like the Hulk character in the Marvel movies, I guess.
You don't like how timid he is?
Yeah, I don't like his story.
When he gets mad, When he gets mad, he becomes this giant green turd.
I just don't like his character development and arc, and just the way they wrote him, I guess.
I want a more timid Hulk. I want Rick Moranis to play the Hulk.
Oh yeah. God, bring Rick Moranis back.
Please, yes, write your congressman.
And,
yeah.
Second piece of news, which also comes with an opinion of mine. Vivica A. Fox, or is Viv? I don't know.
Vivica.
You got it.
Oh,
nailed it.
Oh, hell yeah, cool. Vivica A. Fox says she's ready for Kill Bill 3.
Oh,
what?
Damn.
I
read that.
I read that title, and I started thinking about We've
been waiting for her approval.
Quentin's been waiting with bated breath.
Vivica, please, Vivica,
let me do this just once. You owe me.
Oh shit. I started reminiscing on my experiences with Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2, which are incredible films, and I would say in the top 10 or 5 really of Quentin Tarantino's filmography.
Yeah.
He's only made 10.
Oh shit, yeah, that's right.
So
he's been involved in other things, and I would include that.
The Kill Bill movies is supposed to be one movie.
Yeah, that's what at least. Yeah,
that's why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood it starts off by saying Quentin Tarantino's 9th movie.
Ah.
Oh yeah, because I think he said at one point that he was only making 10 movies in his career. Mm-hmm. That's all he's got. He's only got 10 in him. He can't do more.
I've heard this argument before. Is Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 one movies or two movies?
Well,
it's supposed to be one movie.
I can see it from both perspectives. You can't
technically
release
it's two movies because they were released.
Yeah,
exactly. They have different release years. They were released in theaters.
But that's a studio involvement.
It's Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Exactly.
So
they want to do Kill Bill 3. And
You mean 2?
Who wants to do it? Vivica A. Fox.
And so I started thinking about Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 because I recently watched Kill Bill Volume 1, which is an awesome movie. And I was just thinking I don't think there's really a need for a Kill Bill Volume 3. They pretty much tied it
necessary
up.
Wrapped it right up.
Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing we need more.
And you don't need. And okay, so I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, what about the daughter that she's
I don't care about that."
And it's no one cares. You can make that assumption on your own. Just make it for your own headcanon, And if you're so passionate about it, why don't you write a fucking script and then jack off to it while reading to it? don't want to Kill Bill Volume 3 because I think it just kind of plays into the hand of always needing more.
Yeah.
Like that's what we got. We got the fucking Star Wars sequel trilogies, which that wasn't needed. What we needed was the Mandalorian. That's what Star Wars needed. We didn't need 3 movies of shit. We needed Mandalorian. Has no force, no lightsabers.
Yeah. So now this is just a Star Wars opinion piece.
Tyler.
It all comes back to Star Wars.
I since we recorded the Cats episode and you gave your glowing review of how much you loved Rise of Skywalker, or The Last Skywalker, I'm sorry.
The Last Skywalker.
It's The Rise of Skywalker, right? That's episode 9.
It's Rise.
Okay. Yeah. I get it mixed up. But I watched it this week in preparation for this show, and I gotta say, it's probably a 6 Baby Yoda movie out of 10.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think we all agree it's a very good movie.
No, it isn't.
Here's what I think about it. I think they tried really, really hard to seem like every scene had to be so goddamn deep.
Yeah.
Like there was no levity to it. There was no I don't know. It was like
every scene was very impactful.
Yeah. Every scene was momentous, and it tried.
So
really,
you're telling me that after the twist of the movie that you find out like halfway through the movie, that didn't turn you off at all. You're still on board.
Well, I was never 100% on board throughout the movie.
Okay.
So I didn't.
My foot was on the ship.
Yeah, I was. I was in a lifeboat trailing behind the ship the whole time. It was. I was like, this is not. I don't know. My opinion of it was that it was not a Star Wars movie. It was, and it fully 100. If you take that movie as canon, it 100% solidifies the movie as a pure fantasy, or 90% fantasy, 10% sci-fi. So it's
the sci-fi elements are like completely absent.
So what did you think about the explanation of Palpatine?
He's alive somehow. Perfect. I mean, you don't need to say anything more than that.
It's in the crawl.
Yeah.
And I had a
Palpatine is back.
I had a horrendous admission by my dear girlfriend Brie as we were watching it, with the intro crawl story, the preamble to the movie was going up the screen as Star Wars is wont to do. Yep. And we got to the end, and I'm like, ooh, see where this goes. And I said that out loud, and she goes, I never read those.
What?
She's like, maybe I would understand the movies a little bit better if I read those, I guess. I'm like, yeah, probably.
Well, I don't blame her.
It puts you in a place and time for the history of this galactic. Who cares? Whatever.
It's like a prologue.
Yeah, fuck Star Wars.
It was okay.
But yeah, so just to wrap it up, to my point is that I'm sick and tired of like trying to milk series of movies that are perfect how they are. Like, this is why the prequel trilogy, and now we have Kill Bill Volume 3 and like the sequel trilogy of Strike. Like it goes on and on. It's like, come on, like if you need to stay busy, like just put in a little bit of effort and think of something a little bit more.
I can't imagine Tarantino wanting to do a Volume 3.
I don't either. But you know what I do want to see, though, is I want to see his Star Trek movie, which, if you guys know about that's a very exciting prospect. But anyways, that's all I got. Joseph, you have anything that isn't so gloom and doom movie news?
Yes and no. But just put one little thing on that topic of like Hollywood not making movies that just people want more of. With that logic, I feel like you could apply it to every movie that you like. Like, I want more of this movie. I want more Shawshank Redemption 2. I want... What happens to Andy Dufresne and Morgan Freeman? What do they do? What are they doing afterwards?
Shawshank 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo. It sounds so perfect.
There's so many, like... You want to know what the daughter's doing in End of Kill Bill? Why? Why do you care?
No one
Yeah.
cares.
They got a new goldfish.
But you know the sad thing though is people do care, and that's why this shit gets made.
They shouldn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones. Those are the people who want the information spoon fed directly into their skulls. Like,
Yep.
They don't want to do any critical thinking of any kind.
Nope, they just want.
Which is they would not enjoy the square. I will say that.
Oh God, yeah.
Because there are a bunch of squares. Anyway.
Nice.
So one, or I guess two depressing pieces of news and one kind of humorous piece of news. I'll start with the gloomy news first. Unfortunately, I'm sure we all heard now, Jerry Stiller, the comedian and actor, also known as who played one of the most iconic roles in TV as Frank Costanza in Seinfeld, passed away this week or last week. At the age of
and this wasn't because of the virus either. He just died because he's old.
Yeah, at the age of 92. Yeah, I was very, very sad to hear that. As I am ever watching Seinfeld, like it's never over for me.
He has it in the background of his
Pretty
house
much
all the time.
Yeah,
Playing right now.
yeah,
it's probably playing right now.
yeah.
We have a
you might be
filter.
right. I'm not in the living room right now, so it might be on. And then he was also in, I think he was in King of Queens, who also played
Yes.
the dad.
And I think he was in Everybody Loves Raymond. No, that was another old fuck that
was
dead
that was,
already.
Peter
that was Frank
Boyle.
Boyle.
Yeah.
Frank Boyle.
Yeah.
Peter Boyle.
Who was Frankenstein. I think he died a while ago.
Yeah, he's dead. He's gone. He's in the ground.
Frankenstein from Young Frankenstein. Yeah, so that was very sad to hear. Another piece of sad news. This director, Lynn Shelton, director of a movie on Hulu. I'm not really familiar with her work, but she directed a movie called Little Fires Everywhere, and a movie called Hump Day and Your Sister's Sister. She was only 54 years old,
Wow.
and died of a blood disorder.
Shit.
Yeah. And she was married, or she was in a relationship with Mark Maron, who was
Really?
a comedian and actor.
Actively?
Yeah.
As if
I believe
Mark
so.
Maron needed more depression in his life.
Really?
God, that guy gets hammered.
Yeah. So that was sad. I'm not really too familiar with her work, but I just thought it was important to bring it up.
Can I tag on a couple of sad notes since we're talking death, and we'll just get this out of the way?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The last surviving member of the Rockford Peaches, featured on A League of Their Own, dies at age 101.
Oh, hey, we reviewed that movie.
That's why I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Adjacent to or germane to our show. So that was I mean, she wasn't famous, but featured in the movie made about her. And then
Was
also
she in that movie at all? I can't remember if she was.
No, they didn't have the real Peaches in the movie.
That's kind of a shame. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. You get all of the surviving Peaches and
good luck
some
trying to find
capacity.
that. And then also Fred Willard, comedic actor Fred Willard, who if you don't know his face or his name, you definitely know his face. He was the announcer in Best of Show. He was in a ton of Christopher Guest properties. He was a great comedic
was he in
actor.
Spinal Tap?
What's that?
Was he in Spinal Tap?
If he probably was, I don't know what part he played in that. If he was, but he's one of the funniest, like most wholesome guys.
Yeah.
And he also passed away just of old age. Peacefully.
Very weird circumstances of finding out about his death.
Yeah, he was. I do. I remember I shared it on our group chat that we had that, and the article suggested that no one really knew if he was dead or not.
It was Jamie Lee Curtis who tweeted out, but there was no other sources confirming it, so it was just kind of like
It's like,
What does this-
is
what
he
does this
dead,
mean?
Or
Yeah, so bad week for historical movie figures.
sure.
First,
I mean, Fred
They
Willard.
go-
He played in one of my favorite Netflix shows. I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
yes, you're right. He was in that.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal in that, and he actually has a new show coming out now. It's in post. He's playing in Space Force.
With
I-
creators of The Office.
yeah. So
Uh,
shame.
yeah.
Shame.
One thing about Jerry Stiller is that him and his wife were a comedic duo,
Oh, really?
and they've been performing for decades on TV and on stage. And I had no idea. I just found this out after learning that he died. Was that it was him and his wife? If you've seen the movie Heavyweights, who were the original owners of the camp that gets taken over by their son Ben Stiller.
Yeah, they were.
I had no idea that was that they were like legit couple in IRL.
Oh.
But I thought that was really interesting. That his son Ben Stiller plays the character who takes over the camp.
Yeah, they worked together in a lot of stuff. He was his manager in Zoolander.
Yes.
Yep.
Most famously known as, yeah. I think that's when everyone found out that they were father and son too from that movie.
Maybe that's when you found out, Tyler.
That is when I found out. I'm just gonna put my mind with the general audience. Like, we all found out.
Jerry Stiller and Ben Stiller look almost alike, just different colored hair.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, and then a bit of humorous news. Robert Pattinson did an interview with Vanity Fair, and GQ. But what's interesting about the GQ interview is that he took his own GQ cover in quarantine. Like, he took pictures of himself for the GQ cover in quarantine because
Oh, wow.
he's basically isolating in London.
Yeah.
In an apartment. And
He probably figured he's just like, enough people need me now. After he's still on the high of the lighthouse, and he heard this show and our praise for it, and he's like, people need us.
Yeah.
Need a quarantine.
And he's spending his time in limbo from Batman, microwaving pasta.
What?
And
Robert, come on, dude. You can boil it. You don't have to microwave it.
Maybe not in his case. So Robert Pattinson is supposed to be preparing to play Batman in The Batman. Instead, he is microwaving pasta. Yes, pasta as in pasta, the food, the thing you boil.
Yeah, microwaving it. Come on, Pattinson.
He says it's not good
Microwaving
and doesn't
pasta.
recommend it.
Well, thank God.
And yeah, so he's basically almost living very poorly, and he's not staying in shape for the role of Batman.
Oh no.
He'll do a quick turnaround once they
No.
continue filming.
Yeah, he looks like he
Yeah.
has a can-do attitude and a high metabolism.
Yeah.
Fast metabolism, which is not high. Fast.
The actor Robert Pattinson is hoping to diversify beyond his work on the big screen. Said he had been wondering how to give pasta the same kind of fast food credentials as burgers and pizza.
Oh my God.
He's allegedly gone so far to brainstorm a type of handheld pasta, as well as a name for his venture. Picciolini-
Handheld pasta. What?
Picciolini Cuscino, which means little pillow in Italian.
Oh.
Because he is a famous person, Pattinson was able to bring his idea to Lele Messamini, co-founder of a sushi hotspot, Sugarfish, and proprietor of Pasta Bar Uovo. So apparently he's starting businesses in quarantine involving handheld pasta.
Interesting. They already have that. It's called Kraft Easy Mac.
Yeah, but this is long grain. This is like long noodle.
We're talking about pasta corn dogs here.
Yeah. So he microwaved penne pasta, dumped it into foil, which then smothered layers of cheese and sugar.
Oh.
It really needs a sugar crust, he explained. He also added a layer of crushed cornflakes That eventually
What?
topped it all with a hamburger bun, which had been burned with the initials PC.
What the fuck is going on in his life right now that he feels the need to microwave pasta, put it on a hamburger bun with a shit ton of sugar? It's unbelievable. I can't believe
Tyler,
it.
He's really trying to sell his company. He's doing this for his brand.
Wow.
If you had the money, Tyler, tell me you'd do anything different.
Well, yeah, you know what? You got me there. You got me there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't put pasta in a hot dog bun before and ate it at 3 o'clock in the morning in front of a fridge. All right,
That's true. We've all
Cold
been there.
pasta.
and I'm pretty sure that's where the inspiration is coming from for this. He's just like, oh my god. But Robert Pattinson is such a highly motivated man. He's
gonna make money off this
He wants to
stone
make
adventure.
money off of it.
So he this was interview done on FaceTime, by the way. So the interviewer is watching this, watching Robert Pattinson do, and he's watching Robert Pattinson shove his pasta vention into an oven that may or may not have been been a microwave. He broke the microwave.
I'm working in the wrong industry right now. I should be working at Vanity Fair.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in Robert Pattinson's quarantine.
Cool.
That was really funny. That was
wait
humorous. I'm
With
glad I
everything-
know that now. Glad I
Stay
know that
here
in my
for
life.
the latest RPATS news. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool.
All right, let's get into streaming picks.
All right, I got a few things to. I'll go blow through them real fast because we're already 37 minutes in and we haven't even scratched the surface. One movie I did not watch this week, but I saw that it popped up on Pluto TV.
Pluto. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Again, we're gonna revisit the early stages of this podcast. We were recommending Pluto.tv or Pluto TV to everyone. I'm gonna reiterate that. Go to your streaming hardware of choice, whether it be your smart TV, your PlayStation or Xbox, your Roku device, whatever it is that you have the streaming apps on, and download Pluto TV. It's free. It's basically just TV, really. Tons of channels of binge-worthy content, and then there's a ton of streaming movies you can watch too, and they all have commercials in them like TV. So anyways, Attack the Block from 2011 is streaming for free on Pluto with ads right now, and it's a real fun kind of a sci-fi action movie where
With,
a group of
John
cheeky
Boyega, right?
Yep, group of cheeky young ne'er-do-wells, street dweller, gutter snipes, street urchins, whatever you want to call them, are kind of running amok in their little town. They call it their block, and it's like their neighborhood in kind of a crappy part of town in maybe London, maybe outside London. And a meteor hits, and there's an alien on board of the meteor. And the character design for these aliens is so good. It is unique. It is very interesting. It is effective. Have you guys seen this?
No, the director. Who's the director?
Director Joe Cornish.
Yeah, what did he do? Else did he do? I know he did The Kid Who Would Be King.
Kid Who Would Be King, The Adventures of Tintin, that weird animated one, and then a few episodes of The Lowdown. I think that's a TV show.
Yeah, I could have swore I saw something else that he directed.
Maybe, but it is young John Boyega in this, and Nick Frost from Hot Fuzz.
Ant-Man.
He did Ant-Man?
He wrote. Well, maybe he directed Ant-Man too.
Ant-Man.
Well, Joe Cornish's early stuff, John Boyega's early stuff. It's a fun movie. I won't spoil too much about the creatures, but basically they're made of darkness. They're like these fuzzy bear like creatures that are very fast and can climb walls, and they're kind of large. They're about the size of like a Burmese mountain dog or something like that, or a Great Pyrenees, like a big fluffy dog. But all their fur is 100% black, like the void of light, and they don't have eyes that you can see, and when their teeth snarl their teeth, they have these glowing blue teeth. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting. So that's Attack the Block streaming on Pluto. And then I watched a classic Francis Ford Coppola movie that I had heard really good recommendation for many months. I've had it on my list for a long time. It seemed like homework. So I kind of didn't have it very top, and it's called The Conversation, starring Gene Hackman from 1974.
I've seen this.
Have you?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Written, directed, and produced by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Gene Hackman. Small part by young Harrison Ford, and also co-starring John Cazale. John Cazale is a really interesting person in itself, and his story is more interesting than the movie was. And it was this movie, the Conversation, follows Gene Hackman. He's like a private investigator. He's like a wiretapper, and he's hired to listen to a conversation between a young couple. And then he wrestles with his morality, whether or not he should turn this information in, because he thinks if he turns the tapes in to the person who hired him, that the guy's going to kill these people. So that's the long and short of it. It's got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And 7.8 on IMDb.
It's one of those movies that is like one of the best movies.
Yeah,
but it's like it sounds like homework.
Yeah, and it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it. It's almost like a character study on paranoia. Because he's a professional wiretapper, so he always thinks that someone's listening, and he always watching his back.
I don't know. Blank Check is a real gripping film about paranoia.
Blank Check.
Yeah, the Disney.
Where the kid gets hit by the bike, and
the Disney movie film.
Yeah.
With Sinbad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On par
Juice?
with The Conversation with Gene Hackman.
No,
There's
thanks.
that one kid who looks like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, starring Sinbad and Wayne Knight.
Oh yeah, Wayne Knight. I forgot.
So, anyways, the movie's very good. I can't say it's a bad movie. It's not like wasn't up my alley. It was a little bit of a slow burn.
Does it feel long?
Yeah, it's an hour and 53 minutes, almost 2 hours. So it's a little long, but I wasn't bored throughout it.
Yeah.
And then the ending has a really cool wrap up that I wasn't expecting. But most interesting thing about after watching this movie is the fact that John Cazale, I've heard some stories about him. He was a short-lived Hollywood actor. He died after making only 5 films, and all 5 films were nominated for Best Picture.
Damn.
Huh.
Very, very weird, interesting thing. It's like Godfather 1 through 3, The Conversation, and what was it?
All Francis Ford Coppola movies.
Deer Hunter, I think, too.
Oh, Deer Hunter.
I think so.
I've heard
I'm not
really
sure
good things about that one.
Deer Hunter's nuts.
Yeah,
Also, another really long movie.
No, I've been slacking. I got to do some homework too. I need to start watching these homework.
4 of those movies are Francis Ford Coppola movies.
Yeah. No, it's So anyway, so that was a great watch, and if you want to get a bit of like quote unquote great cinema from the 70s from historic director like Francis Ford Coppola, it's streaming on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, John Cazale, he was also in Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay, maybe that's the other one.
As starring alongside Al Pacino. His like partner in crime is robbing this bank.
Godfather 1 through 3, Dog Day Afternoon, The Conversation. Is that it? Maybe it wasn't Deer Hunter he was in.
No, he's in Deer Hunter.
Is it?
As well.
I guess maybe he wasn't on in all 3. Either way.
Yeah.
What a pedigree. And then he died.
Sure.
And then he died.
And then real quick, which I'm not going to go into anymore because we were already running long, but I just saw that the Eric Andre show is streaming on Hulu now. All 4 seasons. Actually, 5 seasons, it says.
Huh.
So
yeah, I saw that the other day.
Fantastic. It is absolutely 100% absurd, gross,
I don't know,
over the top interview show. It's set like a crappy public access show.
Yeah.
And it is unique comedy like you've never seen before if you've never heard of Eric Andre.
He's a visionary in comedy.
He's a visionary.
He's truly he's basically the Bill Murray of our generation.
I don't know about that. I think he's more like Tom Green of our generation.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, because
Yeah.
Tom Green crashed and burned. Like, he's not even relevant anymore. I think Eric Andre is going to be relevant for years to come.
Well,
that's
will
what people
yet to
said
be
about
seen.
Tom Green.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
He's starting to make movies. He has that movie that's
make
out
sure
with,
you listen to
Tiffany
episode
Haddish.
50,000.
Yeah, Tiffany Haddish and him have a movie coming out. It's like some road trip movie.
It's like a Jackass type of like road trip movie.
Yeah.
Or Borat, where it's
like
a real life
situation.
scenes filmed.
There's like a loose plot to it.
Is it Bad Grandpa? Was that the movie that Jackass made?
Yeah, Bad Grandpa.
Well, I think it was the production company was involved. I don't think it was like Johnny Knoxville. I think was involved too. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, he was the Bad Grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Robert De Niro.
No, that was a Zac Efron. That was an actual movie. This other movie.
Grandpa. How could I forget? Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which one was which. There was two movies with similar titles.
So that's it. That's watch the conversation if you want some quality cinema. Watch Attack the Block if you want something fun. And
where's
Eric
Conversation?
Andre. Huh?
Where's Conversation? Conversation's
Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Tyler.
All right. My streaming pick is it's a documentary. It's called Senna, made in 2010. It is about a Brazilian Formula One racing driver. His name is
Ayrton Senna.
Yeah. All right. So you know about him. And how he got
great documentary.
Yeah, and he got fucked over by the F1 community because he was so good at what he did. This is I cried at this documentary. Like I rewatched it again and I still cried. Like I shed tears.
That's impressive.
It's you see it's so
it is great.
So the basic synopsis without giving anything away is that there's this guy. He's from Brazil. He is a legendary driver. Like he's I'd say he's the best driver that ever lived in the world.
He's the Michael Jordan of F1.
Yeah, he's the best driver that has ever lived in F1. He basically is so good that it's kind of screwing up with the rigging process of how professional sports are played out, because there's a lot of like back end deals in sports, and he was kind of like, fuck this like scene, like I'm just gonna win, like I don't give a shit.
Basically Ricky Bobby.
And it's so basically it kind of follows, the documentary follows his career on like what he did, what he accomplished, and like what he advocated for, and his untimely death as well. And it's just one of those documentaries that if you like you don't even have to like cars or anything, but if you like the good versus evil archetype in a documentary, this is a phenomenal documentary that spotlights that good person versus evil corporation sort of like struggle. And it's funny because, well, not funny, I would say it's more ironic that they can't do anything about it because he keeps winning. Like he's so good, like they try to fuck with him like every step of the way, and he just foils their plans. And so Senna is streaming on Netflix, and it's an incredible documentary. You if you don't cry, you have no soul. So yeah.
Didn't you mention this, Pete, a while ago?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about this documentary is that it's constructed and produced in a way that I've never seen on a documentary. It's 100% archival footage. There's no talking heads.
Yep.
There's no new footage.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the hook that it got me, at least when I watched it. And it is a great documentary, and it's about a character that from a world that I don't really know anything about. I'm a car guy, but I'm not a race car guy, and it was still very, very impactful to me. And you can tell the quality of the movie right off the bat. But having it built off of news footage and recordings and interviews of the time was really, really fantastic. It was the amount of footage, just raw footage that they had of that was beautiful.
I always wonder about that. Like, where do they keep this shit stored?
I don't know. I did look into it after I watched the documentary, and the filmmakers had to like basically beg a lot of countries and news organizations internationally to give them footage, because he was a very controversial figure, and his death was something that shocked the world.
His death is controversial. After you watch this documentary, you will definitely question his death.
The events surrounding his death.
Yeah, that part didn't stick with me too much, but it was
Really?
I enjoyed it. Wow. I enjoyed learning about the character, and any person who is the best at what they do, regardless of if it's something I care about or not, is somebody that is really interesting to take a snapshot of their life, because what it takes to be the best at anything is fascinating.
You know, and what I appreciated about this documentary too is they didn't go into like his personal life. It was strictly focused on his racing career. Like,
pretty much, yeah.
It wasn't trying to be like, oh, he was such a great person or anything. It was just his professional life, and that's where a lot of my praise comes from this movie, is that it's so focused. It's so focused on the point that is trying to make. And with that said, that's it. That's all. Well, actually, I do have something to.
What is it? Where's it streaming?
It's streaming on Netflix.
SENNA.
Yeah, SENNA. And then on top of that, I just just really quickly, I wanted to point out that this is the streaming golden era. So for all of you people who want to get into watching movies, or if you like movies already, it's great to be a subscriber to Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon, or what have you, because I was perusing the libraries of each of these streaming places, and there's just such incredible content there. Like, you got all of the Indiana Jones on Netflix. It's great. I guess I was just trying to input Indiana Jones
take.
in
Netflix
this.
has good movies.
Yeah. So with that said, though, Joseph, do you have a streaming pick for us?
Yeah, I do. It is the entire catalog of Hulu.
Oh my god.
I have a couple.
You've been really on that Hulu hype.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on Hulu, like Seinfeld.
And plus, you don't have to watch commercials with Hulu now.
I know, it's very nice.
Yeah, very cool.
It was very jarring at first, I have to say, because I was so used to the format, especially watching Seinfeld, because it's like he does a stand up and then 90-second commercial break, and then it goes into the rest of the show, and then the end of the show, it's like they take a break between the end of the show and the credits of the show, which is really dumb.
Yeah, that's dumb. For our listeners out there, I gave my Hulu login to Joseph because we started watching Seinfeld one night, and then a commercial came on, and I was appalled, and quite frankly, I was offended that you were even watching your favorite show with ads. I was like, I can't believe this. I got to give you my login. So.
Yes, and I'm very thankful for it.
Well, I'm glad.
So one quick thing, McMillions. I finished McMillions, and it is very good, very funny and sad. It gets sadder as the show progresses, because basically...
Wait, McMillions?
Yeah, McMillions. That was my stream pick last week, right?
Yeah.
Was it last week?
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, it gets sadder as it goes on, because the quote-unquote winners of the show are basically ordinary people whose lives are ruined because of this scam. And it's very sad to hear their stories about during the time of when it happened.
Sure.
So McMillions, I recommend it. It's on HBO and Hulu if you have HBO, I think. I don't know.
Through Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah, McMillions. But my actual streaming picks, I have another movie for children.
Right.
And Tyler.
Come on. Another children's movie?
I have two.
One's
a children's movie. I've always liked kids movies.
I know. JK.
One's a kids movie. One's very much not a kids movie. The first one, Missing Link, a movie came out last year. It is a Leica production from the makers of Coraline, The Box Trolls, Kubo, and the Two Strings. And now this one, starring Hugh Jackman and Zach Galifianakis. Hugh Jackman plays like a like a person who is like an adventure explorer guy who just goes around and like discovering like myths and legends like the Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that, and basically just documenting it. He's not like a hunter or anything. He just takes pictures and leaves. And Zach Galifianakis plays the titular missing link.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Who basically he sends Hugh Jackman's character, also known as Sir Lionel Frost. He sends him a letter, basically asking him to help him discover. It's kind of like Kung Fu Panda 2 story, where he's like, he hears about a gathering, a village or a place where there's more of him around, more of creatures like him, who are known as the Yetis. And it just is their journey from Washington State, where he goes to find him, to the Himalayas. And it's very funny, very entertaining. And the Leica movies are just so impressive in general because they're all stop motion. And the amount of work that goes into these movies is insane.
I could have sworn this was an animated one. I didn't think it was stop motion.
Yeah, like all Leica movies are all stop motion.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Their
and
production.
it's insane what they can do. The technology where it's evolved these days. I mean, Chicken Run, Wallace and Gromit is still good, but this is like another level of animation, like stop motion animation. It really it blurs the line between CG animated movies and stop motion animated movies, because like it's hard to tell really that it's hard to believe that this was hand animated, and it's really good.
Where's that streaming?
That's streaming on Hulu. And this next one is not a kids movie, although puppets are involved. It is Team America: World Police.
Oh yeah.
Streaming on HBO now.
America, fuck yeah.
HBO Go, DirecTV. It is. I revisited this movie just for some reason we started talking about it.
Yeah, we were talking about it last week.
And I don't know what spurred it, but I really inspired me to watch it. So I watched it. I watched it, and it is still very funny. I remember watching it in theaters with my dad when it came out.
You watched it in theaters?
Yep, I did in 2004. I was 12 years old.
It's a good 12-year-old movie, honestly. Like, it's a good movie to show a 12-year-old. It's got the same laughs. It's over the top, and I think I got some more of the jokes this time. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
As opposed to when I was 12 years old. It is very funny.
It's politically incorrect to all sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah, it is.
In all countries.
Offensive for the sake of being offensive.
And it's not really over the top offensive either, which I appreciate.
No.
It's restrained in some ways, but it is over the top, but it's restrained to not being offensive.
Yeah, there's like the dick, pussy, asshole jokes all over the place. There's like a 5-minute puppet sex scene, which was really weird. And I guess there's like an extended version of that scene.
Yeah, there's a much worse version of that.
Yeah,
they weren't allowed to put in theaters.
Isn't there like shitting involved?
I think so. Yeah, I saw that cut.
I think I've seen it too. I feel like I saw it like maybe after the theater.
Yeah, I think it was on the DVD or whatever.
But yeah, basically the premise of the movie is Gary Johnston is a stage actor who gets hired by Team America. He gets discovered by Spotswood, and to help Team America uncover terrorist plots, basically. And because without actors, they're like lambs to the slaughter.
Yeah, for some reason they really need an actor on their team of world vigilante super agents.
Yeah, they couldn't just train a person to act well.
Yeah.
But anyways,
no. and then Kim Jong-il is conspiring with world terrorists around the world to gather all the most important people to his place and blow them up. Yeah, that's basically the premise. And Team America has to stop them because they're the world police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very funny. It's very short. I felt like I was watching like a TV show by the time it was over.
Yeah, it's an easy watch, and it's absolutely 100% ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so over the top. There's a puking scene with a puppet. He's drank too much in an alleyway, and he pukes 10 times the amount of his body mass. Just keeps going and going. It's so funny.
Yeah, very funny. Streaming on HBO now. If you like if you like South Park, if you watch South Park, then you'll like this. If you like Trey Parker or Matt Stone, you'll like it. But anyway, yeah, that's it.
Cool. Awesome.
Time to move on to The Square.
Oh boy,
very exciting 2.5 hour movie.
I know. I was watching
idea.
it this morning, and I paused it so I could like get a glass of water or something. And I was just like, how much do I have time left to watch this movie? And it was just like 2 hours and 20 minutes left. Are you what?
So you got 10 minutes in, you got thirsty.
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell? What? I mean,
I'm 10 minutes into this movie. How much more is there?
yeah, exactly.
I thought this was a 30-minute short.
So Joseph, what is The Square about? What is The Square?
It's interesting. It's interesting you asked me that, Tyler. The Square is about our main character is a chief curator for a museum in Stockholm, Sweden. And a lot of stuff happens to him. He gets pickpocketed, and he makes some bad decisions about some art exhibitions, which result in some bad press. And then he bangs Elizabeth Moss, and then she's like, "Remember my name?" And then he's like, "Of course I know your name." And then
Yes, I do. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. And there's a monkey man involved.
An actual monkey too.
There's a monkey man.
Yeah. There's a bonobo, full-grown bonobo monkey, chimpanzee.
Yeah, there's two monkey
which was
involved.
the first one to appear on screen, apparently.
What?
The first full-grown bonobo.
Wow.
Monkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. So this was a movie about existential crises, existential crises, midlife crises.
Yeah, yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
This is certainly a movie.
I'll just say so far I enjoyed it. What did you guys think?
Well, I'll say this. I watched this morning, actually yesterday morning, and Justice and Brianna were sitting at the kitchen table working on their own projects, but it was on clearly loud enough for them to listen and kind of pay attention. Yeah, it was in the same room. And probably 30 minutes in, Bri asked, she looked over and she goes, "How's your movie? You like it?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know yet.
and then about an hour and a half in, she goes, "So how's your movie? You like it yet?" I'm like, not too sure. It was about 2 hours and 10 minutes in, right before the climax. And she goes, "Well, is the movie good yet?" And I'm like,
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. She's like, "That's okay.
Maybe it's good, but I just don't like it."
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I think what I landed on at the end of the day with this movie is that it was scene by scene, it was technically proficient, and there was a lot of really interesting things. The staircase shot of him climbing up the stairs with
near the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember that scene, that shot.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking, how did they shoot this? He's perfectly framed in the corner of the frame the entire time.
It's literally like robotic.
Yeah,
it's like the stairs are mechanical, and he's just like moving up this stairmaster.
It had to have either been a really long twisting drop
articulating
jig,
arm.
Articulating arm from the top that it was trained on him, or the cameraman was also climbing the stairs in unison with him on a steady cam.
That would be very difficult
in a very, very awkward position.
I was thinking that he was following a path on the case where like they put X's on each step.
Oh,
to
yeah,
where
he was-
it
I
would
mean,
bend.
It was timed for sure.
He was definitely on a path.
Yeah.
Yeah, metered. I mean, there is only one direction to
I think
go.
that's
It's
what
up,
I think
the
that's
stairs.
what it was, but
But-
I ain't no
but that- I mean, the-
fucking movie expert.
So that scene was great. The weird interactions between the characters, scene by scene, was great. All the little details that just kind of throw you for a loop, like there's just a baby in their board meetings.
Yeah,
yeah,
just like
I
really
forgot
weird,
about
really
that.
small, really
yeah,
small
all those
details.
little, all these little bits was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's interesting. I wonder why he did that. And then nothing happens from it. And then you're like, okay, well,
the chef yelling at the crowd.
that was fantastic. There was a lot of things in it that just really like spoke to me in a good way. But at the end of the movie, I was like, I don't know, just didn't land with me. It was like it was trying to be very precious and say a lot
Yes,
with no connection. It was like, and Brie said it perfectly. I will credit her in this, and I feel 100%. This was like a modern art exhibit
Oh my god.
put into a movie. It was like it's
that's how I started feeling about like maybe halfway in.
absolutely. She said it, and it's like embodied my entire feeling for the movie. So Tyler,
So after I watched this movie, well, at first I was upset with the time of the movie. It's 2.5 hours long. So every time I kept pausing it to, get lentil soup or get some water or something, what have you, in a regular day life, I'd pause and I'd look at to see how much I had left, and I was like, oh my god, like what the fuck could happen still? The movie is
everything.
the movie I was expecting a like twist of gruesome in nature.
Oh yeah, of a gruesome nature. Yeah.
I was expecting something extreme to happen, especially when they point out in that one scene of where they're pitching their idea for how they're going to promote the square art installation. I was thinking, oh, they're gonna this is basically the whole movie is going to be like that pitch, and then at the end they're going to have like an extreme ending. Didn't happen. I thought on a technical aspect, like some of the shots and perspectives that they used were very, very intelligent, but the story could have used a little bit more polishing. I didn't really give a shit about any of the characters, and quite frankly, the movie poster is very misleading to the movie. It's
What's the poster? I didn't see the poster.
the poster is of the monkey man with his like little stupid ass crutches sitting on the table, flexing. It has nothing to like. That's such a small aspect of this movie.
Yeah.
I think this movie is a really good critique on modern art because of how seemingly nonsensical modern art is. And the politics that go behind it, because you go, especially kind of towards the end of the movie, Christian and I would assume like the person who is his liaison to the board who funds this museum, they go into depth about like, okay, so like, we need to like control this PR aspect of it all. And I thought this movie was... It's weird. Like I like this movie, but at the same time, like I found myself desiring more pushing of the envelope, so to speak. And there's a particular scene that I will get into later on that I wish would have gone more extreme. But initial thoughts, I think this movie was technically very well done. A lot of competent people were involved, but I was left with a desire for a more extreme.
Just more.
I think they played it very safely, and I think they could have done a lot more. And yeah, so it's a fine movie.
What about you, Joseph?
That's interesting that you say they could have done more, because that's like one of the main themes of the movie, is that like the whole museum is like is like, well, we need to push the envelope. We need to like draw attention to ourselves.
Sure.
And then they blow up a kid.
Blow up a kid.
So I think that was the that was a quote unquote pushing the envelope. And but yeah, I think unfortunately for me, the movie, it got to a point near the end where I was just kind of like, unfortunately, waiting for it to be over.
Yeah.
I was like, this seems like the end right here. This seems like a perfect ending right here. And then it just kept on going for maybe another 20 minutes. You know, they probably could have cut out maybe 30 minutes of the movie.
I thought the same
They could have
thing.
cut
It could've
out
been
that
under
whole
2
animal
hours.
scene, that whole fucking. Okay, so for.
How dare you?
Wait.
Okay, all right. Let me restrain myself here.
Are you referring to the dinner scene?
Yes.
Oh, that scene was like one of the best scenes in
If
the
that
movie.
scene doesn't exist, this movie loses a whole star for me.
You know, honestly, I think that this might be a hot take, but I think that scene was unnecessary to the movie.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, right away you're thrown into the modern art world, and modern art
sucks.
Is very divisive.
It's very polarizing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've been to the SF San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and
MoMA.
it's very interesting. I like the ideas. I hate other ideas. You know, the whole like taking a urinal and just putting it on something and like somehow it's art. You know, there's a I don't know. It's just there's things that
It's thought provoking.
People can connect to that I can't connect to, and it could be maybe them just being like pretentious, and I'm just like being realistic, and there's actually like maybe there is a meaning behind it and I'm just missing it, or you know, I can't relate to it. You know, there's like this movie is the entire question of like what is art.
Sure.
It's
and it's brought up that
in
you
the
say that. Yeah, I do agree with that, because I started questioning myself. I was just like, because I found myself getting like frustrated, and I was just like, oh, modern art is such a fucking like circle jerk of like rich people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like,
You're not wrong there.
well, like, who am I to say? Like, so that's the duality I have with modern art, and with the square is that like I questioned my own opinion on the movie while I was watching the freaking movie.
Maybe that
that's
that
funny.
could have been the goal.
Yeah.
They were
And
successful.
they achieved the goal, if that was the goal, because like the whole movie, I think, is like the idea of the square. I think is the entire character that Christian, like his life in the movie that we see, like he's experiencing what the square is supposed to be representing.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Christian
tons,
was really
tons and tons of square imagery.
Yes,
I don't know.
that
In this movie.
ham-fisted that square imagery very early on in the movie.
I think it was super ham-fisted. I thought it was pretty well done.
It was very
for a movie called The Square. They don't show the art installation called The Square very
And-
often.
there were things we don't even see the artist who is like responsible for the square.
What the hell's up with that?
But there is high quality, high resolution photos.
Yeah,
on the
there's
website.
high resolution
high quality.
photos. Look it up.
So yeah, we never see the artist, which was very, very weird. But I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I will probably not watch it again, just because it's too long, and it's just like and Deanna didn't want to watch it, and I'm not imagining myself watching it by myself again.
Then let me put on the square. I got a drink in my hand. The lights are dim.
I'll talk
Let's
about
put
the
on
monkey.
the square.
I'll talk about the monkey dinner scene in the future. I guarantee I will.
Sure, that's iconic. Honestly, it's an iconic scene.
I would watch scenes from this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that scene, and it's interesting that. So just for some trivia about the guy who plays the monkey, he is an actor who played Kong in Kong Skull Island, and he was in some the Planet of the Apes remakes.
Well, he has to be.
So he's not.
He knows monkeys.
Yeah, so it's not like
he's a motion capture actor.
Yeah, like Andy Serkis.
Name's
and
Terry Notary.
Part of me, when I was watching it, I was like, is that like guy like an actual artist? Is he because he's doing this, like he's going like all in on this role.
You know, honestly,
Yeah,
I felt very satisfied with that scene too. Although I think it could have been cut out for the plot of the movie, but for him to be like fucking with these like ultra bougie rich people in this way it was so satisfying to see them making them uncomfortable, because like he kept going, like he kept pushing and pushing, and then eventually they beat him.
Yeah, and you know what else is interesting that you say these bougie people, Tyler, is that all the people in the dinner scene were drawn from the actual ranks of Sweden's 1%.
No way, are you serious?
They're actually the art Illuminati of Sweden.
God damn it. So this movie, there's a lot more depth to this movie that I even knew about. So
there's actual billionaires being fucked with by that guy.
It's really a modern art piece, which, knowing that context, it kind of elevates more of my respect for this movie. Honestly, I wish I knew this going in.
Do you want to know something else that's interesting about this director?
Yeah. Of course.
Joseph, what's the director's name again?
Like Ruben
Östlund. Östlund.
So his directing style is that normally most scenes you might get done in a couple takes if it's a really intense scene or a very technically specific scene. It might take 20 takes or so. He does about 60 to 75 takes on every single shot.
Oh fuck! So he's like he's trying to be a Kubrick right here.
He's that to the fifth power.
I would not want to be working on his set. That would
that
would take forever.
78 long day shoot
for a fucking 2-hour movie.
78
Oh my god!
For a 2. So yeah, the main character who plays Christian, he's in almost every scene, and he was there for 73 of the 78 days.
Oh fuck!
And he said it was miserable, just how much he takes out of you. And most of Östlund's movies, at least the ones that I've seen, I've only seen the two, this and Force Majeure, it's extracting like the most uncomfortable parts of humanity, and like shining a spotlight on it. Like the scene That's after
very fucking clear with Square.
Yeah, after Elizabeth Moss and him Christian have sex, she corners him and basically just wants him to admit that they had sex and like
hold on, wait. Before we get into that one, I want to talk about the uncomfortable scene of him holding his condom filled with his own seed hostage.
We'll get there. I'm in the middle of a thought. So that scene itself is super, super uncomfortable. Right? Obviously, she's asking him, is this a habit of yours? Do you like to my conquest to you? Do you use your power? Is this what your thing, that you just use your power to sleep with women?
Yeah.
How often do you do this? And blah, 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 blah. And that was a great scene. I enjoyed that scene a lot.
That was great dialogue.
I was very confused about what that sound was the entire time.
It was supposed to be like the chairs. I think it was just a sound effect that was playing.
It was an art installation, from what I gathered.
Yeah, it was that installation of chairs stacked up on each other, like almost like that they're gonna fall at any moment. I think. But that was ultra uncomfortable. The scene with his assistant sitting in the Tesla is super uncomfortable. There's so many uncomfortable scenes, but the director likes to do that with the actors as well and make them be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the second you get, Christian, the actor that played Christian, said, the second you get comfortable and you start feeling it, and you start taking it in a different direction, the director will stop him and say, no, you're acting. I need it to be real. Don't cry unless you feel like crying. Don't be angry unless you actually feel like being angry.
Not quite my tempo.
And they'll just, Yeah, they'll spend all day doing basically one shot.
It's basically real life Whiplash on the set.
I'm upset.
Pretty much.
I mean, Kubrick, Rubric, Stanley Rubric. He basically like abused his actors.
There's
and I would like to think that Ruben Östlund is not doing that, but I mean, as long as the actors are all obviously consenting and willing to go through this process of achieving what is I probably would call an art piece of a movie, I think they did it. And it's interesting to hear directing styles of especially from a director like this who has a very specific goal in mind, and he doesn't want to sacrifice. He like 70 to 80 takes is
that's brutal.
I mean, crazy.
How it sounds. I don't know about you, but that sounds like somebody who is a perfectionist.
And that style is known too. So like Klaus Bang, whatever his name is, that plays Christian. He said he's aware of this, so it was a decision to be a part of the movie. It wasn't
so like when you
great, I got the part. It was like I got the part, and let's really think about if I want to take this.
I
want to spend the next 2.5 months being put through the ringer all day.
And with that information, that actually makes me appreciate it more, because I feel like Kubrick, he would get on actors, and the actors wouldn't know, like, I mean, they would know that he was like a very great director, but they wouldn't know the experience of working with him. So with that information you just said, Pete, of them knowing what they're getting into, it makes me feel a little better knowing that they knew what they were getting into with the 70 takes. And so this movie was great. Unfortunately, though, for me, is that it's not a movie that I feel would be remembered in a cinematic history. I think it would be remembered in like small groups of people rather than something like Space Odyssey 2001 or Shining.
Right.
Like it doesn't have that draw.
Not everybody has to be it doesn't have to be the best movie ever made.
My point is that if you're gonna have that directing style, the supplement needs
put your money where your mouth is.
The supplement needs to be that it's also gonna be a movie that stands the test of time. It kind of harks back to one of we had a discussion off or on air, I can't remember, about abusing people in the sense of getting great work out of them.
That was our conversation about Whiplash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's I was kind of reminded. Yeah. So that's kind of harks back to that ethical dilemma. Is that if you abuse someone enough, and I'm using abuse very loosely here, but like if you get someone to produce their best work through maybe non-ethical ways, but it stands the test of time, was it worth it? And with The Square, although I think it was very well done, like there were some great perspective shots, the dialogue was really good. Some points were kind of a slog. I don't think The Square stands the test of time. And so I want to point out a scene that I wish they had gone more extreme. So obviously we can talk about the monkey man, like fucking with these like rich people, which, that's a communist jack off dream right there.
The hell was that?
That was a communist coming. Anyway, the one scene that I wish that they had gone just a toe bit more is when Christian is confronted by the boy who receives the letter because he got his wallet and phone stolen. So Christian goes and he like distributes like this letter to this apartment building that he tracks his phone with.
Everyone in the apartment, yeah.
Side note, I appreciate the technological acknowledgement in this movie. It was very modern, like realistic modern. And so he goes, he puts a letter, he's just like, I'm gonna fuck you up and return my shit. And this kid gets accused of stealing the phone and wallet by his parents. So like he goes and finds Christian, and
which scene are you talking about? Though, is it the one he actually follows him back to his apartment complex?
It's in the apartment complex. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, I'm gonna give you a good smack if you don't leave in 3, 2, 1. And he like leaves, and then he starts knocking on all of the neighbors' doors. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, I'm gonna create chaos because that's what I do, like, that's what you did to me. And then he falls on the stairs.
Oh yeah, I thought he was
like
I thought he was gonna die or something. Or like,
I wanted him to be gravely injured. I think that would have been a really great moment.
I thought that's what was going to happen, and I'm glad it didn't, though.
I know. I mean, the face that Christian makes, he kind of seems like that happens. So, going back to the directing style, it makes me wonder if this kid, if this director just pushed this fucking kid down a flight of stairs, and he was just like, "Fuck you."
Oh, okay. So that's where.
And that was the horror of Christian's face, is because he actually pushed a small child down a flight of stairs.
I'm gonna say that probably didn't happen.
I think.
Well, you can. Well, yeah, maybe not.
I think that the director wanted us to think that something really bad was going to happen to that kid, because the whole time I was waiting for him to fall down the stairs, and then then he did, and then nothing happened.
And then he just like kind of whines about it,
and you don't even see him. You don't even see it. You just see it from Christian's perspective. And you, just like you said, you think that something really bad has happened because Christian's face, his reaction is like something horrible happened, like he broke his leg or cracked his head open or something. But then he says, "Go home," and then he makes the video apologizing and all that. He tries to
nothing happens with it.
Yeah, nothing happens with it.
And he goes to see the house and give his daughter as an example of what he should have done the whole time, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Over.
Yeah.
It was that the fact that you don't even see the kid when he falls down too is a specific directing style of the same director. He does that in a lot of scenes where, like again, the scene where his assistant is waiting in the Tesla as Christian distributes all these letters to the different apartments. There's like a group of kind of hooligans just kind of fucking with him and talking with him through the window.
Yeah, it's all off screen.
And you never see the hooligans. It never cuts back to them. It's just focused on the one guy, and you're like, "Come on, give me something. I want to see who's."
I want to see the Tesla.
Yeah, I want to see the car, something. I want to see what are they doing? What do they look like? Are they actually being aggressive, or is he just being really a baby about this whole thing?
I mean, I think it's because we're being shown from his perspective, like how like maybe we would feel in that position as well.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like a realistic portrayal reaction of like awkward encounters, and
there was a lot of awkward encounters. I really appreciate the beggar scenes that they had throughout the movie. It's just it was very realistic. It's like, oh, I don't have cash. And I mean, because like think about it, like none of us have cash on us all the time. We all have our debit cards or credit cards, like we never have cash anymore. So it's,
especially in Sweden, it's very much a cashless society. I mean when I was there, I didn't get currency or anything, just used my credit card. There was even a place that I went to that didn't even take cash.
Oh fuck.
Interesting.
And it's interesting about the beggars, because the beggars appear over and over again, like just as like montages or just like random shots. And
they're there,
and
like right front up in center.
There isn't like I mean, as far as I know, there isn't like a big homeless problem in Sweden. They're all like Syrian, like they're all like refugees,
Hey, so our Swedish listeners, tell us about the homeless scene.
I mean, at least when I was there,
Sweden,
a couple years ago, and they just kind of like stay there for a while. They get money and they go back. They're not like Swedish residents who have become homeless. Not that I mean, I'm sure there are homeless people there, but they're definitely not as much as they are here in Northern California.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was interesting too that when he actually did give money to the beggar woman, that she was very inconsiderate. She's like,
I know. I was like, oh, he did the right thing.
She didn't say and she didn't say thank you once.
Yeah.
She didn't say please. Whatever, or be humble about it. Whatever you want to get me.
It kind of
chicken ciabatta, no onions.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me, like, I'm glad you guys brought that scene up, because I'm actually in favor of the beggar being an asshole, because I feel like she recognizes that this man comes from a place of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, yeah, you can get me this. Like, you have the privilege of getting me this.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck it up.
Why be a dick about it?
But
why can't you say thank you?
Well,
that's
but
a lot. I mean, we've all encountered homeless people who are assholes.
At the same time,
yeah,
though,
fuck them.
Him being like, here, pick the onions off yourself, was a perfect quip to her frustration of the
I know, right?
Societal.
You're being picky. Why are you being
disadvantage?
picky?
And then the next scene is when he gets his wallet back, he continues to give her more money, which is like, even though he was kind of a jerk to her about her being a jerk to him, he's still like, she's still homeless. I'm still going to give her money.
Yeah, they were both being jerks together, but I think it was just like an expression of frustration towards both sides of the argument, which I thought that was beautifully interpreted, because as a person who's desperate for money and food and all of the necessities, like, they're gonna be a dick.
Yeah, especially
if you're gonna be a dick to another person, that person's gonna be a dick to you. But eventually, at the same time, though, like, you're getting food and money, and this person is getting a sense of like, oh, I helped someone out, but they're pissed off at the same time. I thought it was beautifully done.
I mean, especially if you're a homeless person and like there's the stereotype of homeless people, like they're all, I don't know, alcoholics or drug dealers or like or users, and they're just asking for more.
Yeah.
They're asking just for more money just to further their whatever addiction they may or may not have.
Eat,
And it's hard to tell who's being genuine. I walking in Sacramento, living in Sacramento, I've been I don't want to use the word harassed. Asked. I've been
harassed for money.
I've been asked 3 times by the same person for money. And it was just yesterday actually that it happened. For the 3rd time, and each time he starts with the same story. He's like, he's walking around with like a wheelchair, and with just stuff on it, I think, and he's singing, and then he starts off, I don't know if you guys believe in God or not, and then he starts, and then we just stop like, we don't have any cash, and then we just go on. And I mean, they're all used to it. They're all used to people telling them that they don't have any cash, when it's probably maybe half the time that people do have cash, they just don't want to give it to them.
Yeah.
And same for me too. Like, I have change and maybe like a couple bucks, but I just don't want to, especially in the current climate of things. And am I a dick for doing that?
Yeah, probably.
Who is to decide? Is it
who's the arbiter of dickness or not?
Whose fault is it that?
Well, I guess we're gonna go. This is why I love the square, though.
You love this. Also, you love the square. You love this.
I was gonna say this is why I love this idea of the movie The Square, is because it's so thought provoking. Like,
listen to him backpedal.
We were talking about this movie, and then eventually we got into like giving change to homeless people.
That was a big part of the movie, even though it like they just constantly showed the beggars. And something very interesting about this movie was about people asking for help.
Oh,
was
that was
also
really prevalent.
That
was really prevalent
because like the tables turn. Like Christian plays
Twice.
a guy who is of the people who would not help out somebody else. So like in the beginning of the movie, there's like this huge crowd. They're in this big like plaza of people walking. Everyone's like on their phone, and then there's this woman saying, "Would you like to save a human life today?" And then people are just walking by. No, that's okay.
Whilst there's homeless people begging like 12 feet away.
I know, but it's still like the idea of somebody asking, "Do you want to save a human life?" And then someone goes, "No," and then they
literally, if you take it on face level for that question, it should be every single time. Absolutely, of course, I want to save a human life.
Yeah, you know.
We signed this thing. No,
no, I don't have time. And it's a very interesting idea, like they're just asking. I mean, there might be like it's like a charity, or if it's I don't know, maybe it was a pro-lifer or something. You know, and so that's if someone asked
I didn't even think about that. That's the
if someone asked you, just like if you say like yes or no to this question will determine what happens to this human. You know, would you like to save a human life? And you say no. Okay, they're gonna die now. You know, unnecessarily.
It definitely creates
we're
a
gonna
moral
kill 'em now.
dilemma.
See, that's I guess I mean that's the idea of that theme, whatever you want to call it, of like that shot of a woman's back asking these people like towards like basically a big crowd walking towards the camera, and just like and she's like parting the sea with her body. and then the camera just like tracks over, and then there was like that whole like weird like woman, like you hear like a faint help in the distance, and then it gets closer and closer, and then you see people like looking, everybody like looks back, like it was very realistic the way they portrayed like anytime you hear a commotion in a crowd.
That's the one where the girl is like frantically
he's gonna kill me. And I just read this like bit of like interview from the director about that scene, and it like harks it damn it, Tyler, you got me saying hark.
Hark.
And it's later pointed out in the monkey dinner scene when they're explaining the concept of his art installation or art performance, that like the best idea or the best thing to do is to not move at all, not react, not show fear, because he will sense it and he will point you out.
Shit, I didn't even make that connection.
So
damn.
What the director says is that the voice warns that the animal is trained to sense weakness and fear, so the best defense is to stay very still and hope for the misfortune of others. It's about the bystander effect. The reason we don't have the ability to take responsibility in situations like that is because we are herd animals and we get scared. And when we get scared, we get paralyzed and we're thinking, don't take me, take someone else instead. And that whole scene was like a perfect representation of that idea. And
oh, sure. Yeah.
It was that, and also how, we have, what do they call it? The social contract.
Yeah.
The way that you expect people to react in certain situations. When you see someone quote unquote freaking out in public, you're like, what's wrong with that guy? When maybe that is a perfectly appropriate reaction to your wife of 20 years cheating on you, or whatever it is that the guy on the street's freaking out about, screaming on the streets, God damn my life, You're like, whoa, that guy's insane. Yeah, exactly.
He's having a bad day.
Clearly nuts. But you have the social contract, and when these socialites came to attend this art performance, I guarantee they did not think that they were going to be physically assaulted by what equates to an animal.
Yeah, that was such a beautiful.
It was great because you're like and even Christian once the monkey man chases out the quote unquote alpha male, he seeks out the one dude who's cocky in the entire room because they're all like timid, demure.
Yeah, he was the other artist
socialites.
from earlier in the
He
movie.
was the other artist,
Yeah.
who had the gravel installation.
Yeah.
And once he chases him out of the room, Christian stands up and is like, all right, I guess that's the end of the thing. Okay, hey, everybody, thanks.
And he's not
Thanks
done.
to our artist. And he
Oh,
basically
no.
gets
Oh,
put in his
no.
place, too. And it only had just begun.
Yeah.
I would
But,
have to say when he started fucking with the girl, that's where I would have stepped in and beat some ass.
But if you were in a room, and I don't want to go down too many crazy tangents, but if you're in a room with 150 people and everybody else is calmly,
I know everybody has their heads
witnessing-
down.
everyone's got their heads down. They're doing what the instructions said. Just be quiet and keep to yourself, and everything's gonna be fine. This is just a performance, you know. Would you? At what point would you? And I think it probably is about realistic about when people would actually step in, because
Yeah.
and I don't know 100% if it's true or not, but they said when they were filming it, they let the actors on scene determine when they were going to stop the monkey man.
Oh, really?
I would
in my head, I think that's probably what it would be. Once somebody physically gets assaulted, essentially, he pulls her by her hair.
Even then,
starts dragging her off.
Even when he was pulling her by her hair, it was still like, are they letting him do this? Right?
Yeah,
now?
At that point,
that one guy got up, and then after that, like everyone went and maybe killed the monkey. I don't know.
No, at that point when he would have, I mean, as soon as I saw what was happening, I would have stepped in. Like I have no shame in interrupting a performance art piece to stop a
like the
sexual
guy with Tourette's
assault. Well, the Tourette, actually, you know, that's funny that you mentioned that. The Tourette's guy, it's like, come on, you have Tourette's. Just excuse yourself. You're interrupting this beautiful interview. Like, I'm not, you know, like, there was a great point of, oh, we should be tolerant of, you know, his neurological disorder. But, I mean, come on. You know what you're saying. Like, I know you want to see this right now, but that's why we have YouTube. You can watch it there while you say, like, you know, fuck it. Let me see your fucking boobs.
Oh, well, interesting. Just a little quick thing about the Tourette's scene. It was based on an actual incident in a Swedish theater, and was
I'm not surprised.
And was depicted without fear of insensitivity, since he said all people are satirized in his work.
Yeah. And that was an interview that the director Östlund actually participated in.
Yeah.
I thought the scene was very effective, though, as far as
it was good. You're not sure where it's going to go, and you're just like letting the people feel it out.
Yeah, I thought the artist was going to get upset for a while. I thought he was going to have like a tantrum of some kind.
Chuckling at the bizarreness,
the
of the
absurdity
situation.
of it all. Yeah.
But it didn't go that way.
It's a really interesting movie. The Square is. It's like a view in the modern art world that you may not be exposed to. Like, because I've been to modern art exhibits and stuff, and you know, like, I understand like some of the thought-provoking things that they like point out, and although like I'm not like a super big fan of modern art, I do like the fact that it provokes thought, and and that's what this movie accomplishes. Is that we've talked about a myriad of things that this movie presented.
We just scratched the surface.
Although this movie, this movie is good. I think the plot is a little bit messy in where the direction it wants to go, but at the same time, it has a lot of thought-provoking points, and I appreciate that for a medium of art. Would I watch this movie again? No, I wouldn't. And it brings me to my next question: Is Elizabeth Moss related to Carrie Ann Moss?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They kind of look similar, though.
Do they?
A little bit. I mean, they're two white people.
You and Pete are also two white people. Are you related?
Yeah, you might. Yeah, probably in some ways.
You a dullard?
Oh yeah, there's I mean, there's so many more things to discuss about this movie.
Oh yeah,
I'd just say
we
just
could go
watch
on
it
for
yourself.
a lot longer, honestly.
Yeah,
Watch it yourself. We're at the hour 45-minute mark right
yeah,
now.
and I mean, there's the whole like the two internet marketers or the viral marketers guys who
Yeah.
We went
We've done a lot of
viral, we went
research.
viral.
We've done a lot of research, and blowing up little girls with a kitten works perfectly for talking.
yeah, and
Fucking
I mean,
idiots.
they themselves seem very like pretentious, and then but then when the actual video came out, and it shows that like little phone clip of them like chanting something.
They were saying we went viral.
I know it was like
We've gone viral.
that was
We've
like
gone viral.
that was hella
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they got what they wanted. They wanted a viral video campaign to compete with all the crazy shit that people's vies for people's attentions.
Yeah.
And they got it. At what cost?
And it's never I mean,
At the cost of Christian's job.
the value the video is of a little girl and a kitten standing in the square, like a slow motion, like a Lars von Trier slow motion type
That's
of.
what I was thinking when I saw the ad. I was
And
like, oh, this is Lars von Trier.
And it blows up from the ground, and part of me was like, is this like CG? Like, is this just, or did they actually blow up?
It's just it was kind of cartoonish CG in my opinion. It was
Yeah,
that
it was.
the explosion happened and I started laughing.
But
Me too.
But is in the movie? Did they actually kill a little girl?
No.
Because that question is never answered.
Oh my god!
I don't think.
Yeah,
it's
we
ever
never
asked, though,
see
is
the
it?
little girl and that kitten again. So it might.
He would.
But they
he
didn't.
would have known.
They didn't
he would have
clarify.
known if
They didn't clarify in the
if-
movie.
if they videotaped it in the day,
That's what-
'cause it was shot in the day in front of the museum, people would have known about it. Definitely, Christian would have known about
That's
it.
why.
They know.
That's why
they
there was
know
such
when
a
the
big controversy, though. Is that
they know
that's
when
why-
the janitor sweeps up the small bags of gravel
Yeah.
from that stupid installation. I mean,
It was, it was no coincidence that this was such a controversy because they actually did blow up a girl and a kitten, a little girl and a kitten. They just found
know,
this
I'm
girl
like,
and kitten on the street.
Where are the
and there's,
arrests? I feel like some arrests should be made.
well, it's Sweden. They're not gonna arrest people in Sweden. That's how it goes, right, Joseph? They don't arrest people in Sweden.
Nope.
Wait, hold on. We have a really big listenership in Sweden, so for our Swedish listeners, do
Huge.
they actually arrest people in Sweden? Like, please let us know through your comments or emails.
Or text message.
Yeah, or text messages.
Skype, Friendster, whatever you got.
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many other things we talk about. I mean, they had the whole his friend that helps him print the signs that amps him up. They listen to Justice in the car, and they.
I could have gone without that whole scene.
Yeah, that was a
When
little
they
bit.
got to the apartment complex, I'm like, what was the point of that?
The driving scene.
They thought they were so funny too, doing this thing, and then they get there and they both chicken out.
Yeah, I know. That was hilarious though. I mean I mean it comes almost like full circle. I mean he does do it. They don't chicken out. He does it.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
gets back in the car and they drive away and they scratch the shit out of his Tesla, which was very.
Wait, is that confirmed to Tesla though? Because I was
It is.
wondering that.
They say Tesla and they show it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Show a
okay.
wide shot of it. It's a
Okay.
Model S.
And then it's like it's supposed to be like a badass. It seems like it's supposed to start out like a badass like getaway scene, because like Justice starts playing again, and
Yeah.
then it just
And he
turns off
scrapes
when he
along.
starts scratching the car against the concrete block.
Very slowly too. It's just like it was comedic.
I thought they ran over one of the people.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. For a second,
that's
I
what
thought
I
that
thought.
too.
Yeah,
I thought he ran over his
Yeah.
motorcycle. That's what the sparks were.
Yeah. But yeah, that was funny. They actually speak Danish throughout the movie, which is weird.
It's not Swedish.
I
It's
thought it was-
Danish.
I thought it was German, and I was like, this is definitely not Swedish.
Yeah, it's they actually speaks Danish. The main actor is Dane, and his friend, his coworker Michael, is also Dane. All right. Well, that's really. I don't.
Yeah, we could.
I don't know. There's so many. Just watch the movie.
Watch the movie.
And there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We could go on and on. It's already
very thought provoking.
Almost
for sure.
charged. Yeah, very thought provoking. A lot of self reflecting, happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to ratings. Unless anybody else has anything to say.
No, I don't want to take this on any longer. Watch the damn movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I would have to say is that the condom scene was really weird.
I appreciated that scene.
I laughed a lot. And I thought that was a great addition to the dynamic of the relationship between the curator and Anne. Other than that, yeah, let's get into ratings.
It's also a break of the social contract. After you have sex with somebody, it's weird to say, hey, give me that condom. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Oh,
and then
yeah, exactly.
And it's also uncouth for a guy to say, you know what, I don't want to give this condom to you because you're probably going to steal my sperm and just have a baby with it.
That's also weird.
Well, that's why you guys never heard of spitting in your condoms after you're done with them?
No, you're supposed to put Tabasco sauce in it and then tie the knot off and shake it up.
Yeah, okay. So there's multiple ways, listeners, to get your sperm and condoms to not work.
You ain't getting my seed.
Yeah, this baby's mine. So no, I'll start ratings if you guys don't.
Yeah. What do you give this, Pete?
I can absolutely see why someone would love this movie. I could see this why. The really funny thing I think about it, ultimately the deepest funny thing, is that it won the Palme d'Or, like one of the most prestigious awards at Cannes, which is basically made of people that they're making fun of in this movie.
I know, right?
So it's like the most bougie film festival out there.
Top 1%.
Yeah, and it's not even open to the public. You have to be in this elite class to participate and to vote on it.
Yeah,
and it was given like one of the best awards there, which is hilarious. I loved that, but it didn't land on me. It didn't land with me. It doesn't have rewatchability.
Sure, it
has one scene that I'll remember forever.
Yeah,
with the monkey man scene.
Yeah, very iconic scene.
But the tone was all over the place too. Like it was set in very, very set in the real world with no fantasy and no like hyperbole. But the scene when he's digging through the trash and it pans back and you show like a field of garbage bags that he's in. It's like a thousand garbage bags, and you're like, Jesus Christ, okay, that's weird.
He's
like
the
a weird fantasy shot out of nowhere. I think there were tone issues like that just didn't land for me.
I thought that was the end of the movie.
Yeah, me too. Side note, that one scene, they also did about 75 takes of, and some takes were 20 minutes long.
Wow.
According to the lead actor.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, in the rain. So, anyways, my rating for The Square is a 2 out of 5.
2?
Did not land with me at all.
Damn, 2?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not like it.
All right, well, that's a hot take.
All right, will you acknowledge that it's a good movie?
Yes, I will acknowledge it's a good movie.
Okay.
I'm objectively, it's a well-made movie, and I'm not mad that I watched it, but I didn't like it.
It's just not your thing. Yeah, it's understandable.
The monkey scene movie elevated it a whole like half a star for me.
Well,
so this is on Cats level.
No,
without
that's above Cats.
Without the monkey scene, it would be a Cats level movie.
I had a lot more fun watching Cats. Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
Going on the board.
My rating of this movie is a 3 out of 5. It was a 2 out of 5 after I watched it, but then discussing it with you guys and kind of recognizing the thought-provokingness it like induced into me, elevate it to a 3 out of 5. Although I may not watch this movie again, I would recommend it to people who want to have like a cerebral kind of movie to watch. That's really at the end of the day what it was. Like, the plot is kind of like non-existent, but the acting is incredible. The dialogue is written very well. 3 out of 5. It is a movie.
Yeah.
And it's brought up a lot of great points that we discussed on this show today that I'm still thinking about, that we could probably go on for multiple hours, but we won't. So 3 out of 5. That is my rating.
Cool. I will give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 because technically this movie was like very masterful. It was amazing to look at, and that, I mean, especially that stairwell scene was just,
that was great.
I was like, I didn't even realize it for a second. I was like, what's going on here? And and then when I was like witnessing it, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That was a fantastic shot.
And
sure.
Story-wise, I can agree that it's very all over the place because there's so many different. I feel like there's so many different storylines happening at the same time. A lot of stuff happening, and then also with the different themes. I mean, I'm a big fan of themes, like almost like political type themes or themes about human nature. Like the whole, like the beginning, like we mentioned earlier about the woman asking, like, would you like to save a human life today? I thought that was a very interesting visual, just to see all those people passing by her and not giving her time of day.
That's definitely like social media scene sharing right there, which it's done well.
Yeah, and then the idea, I think the whole movie itself is I think, like we're witnessing here on these ratings, very divisive like views of this movie. Like I liked this movie. I probably will never watch it again. I would recommend it to certain kind of people.
It's just one of those movies that you need to only watch once, which I think in that of itself it makes it a good movie. Yeah,
much like modern art is very divisive, this movie will be very divisive. I think I was about to say you're either gonna love it or hate it, but I don't love this movie.
I don't hate this movie.
Yeah, no, there's really nothing to hate about this movie either, unless you're a dum-dum.
There's a lot to appreciate from this movie.
Yes.
And I can appreciate most of it. I think it could have been a lot shorter.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but 3.5 for me out of 5.
Cool.
And that's
we got a 3.5.
Tyler, before you give yours, I wanted to say something. You sparked something in my head, Joseph. You said, just like modern art, some people can really appreciate it and some can't. They showcased that in the movie as well. There's the gravel the gravel installation.
Yeah.
There's a couple scenes where the people at the art exhibit walk in and they like kind of read the writing on the wall for the thing, and they look around the corner. They don't even make it into the room, and they just look in there.
Yeah, they just like go in the entrance. They go in the entrance and they walk out. They're like, fuck this.
Yeah, I got the gist of it. All right, moving on.
Out of the gravel. Yeah, that's me at MOMA, SF MOMA.
All right, so should Wheel of Destiny time, huh?
Wheel of Destiny.
All right, so the square is off of the wheel from Joseph.
It's gone. On and off. Really quickly.
Out of here. We only need to watch it once.
Okay, so that was
just an IKEA movie.
Yeah.
That was a normal pick for Joseph, so you have a normal pick to go on the wheel.
Yeah, my replacement is the square. Please
no. I will watch it again for this show, but I will not be happy.
No, it is not the square. My replacement for the square. Are you ready, Pete?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It is The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh, I've heard about this one. I've been wanting to watch it.
Cool. I'm kind of in the same boat. It seems like homework. Seems like a movie I should watch, though.
It looks fun.
So.
Yeah. I don't know about fun.
It does look like it is entertaining. I'll say that.
It's
Last
another
Black Man in San Francisco
another
from
thought-provoking film from Joseph Navarro here.
Well, I don't know about that. I haven't seen it yet.
We'll see. None of us are, and I like the fact that none of us have seen it too. I think that's fun to watch.
Streaming on Prime.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Recapping the wheel. Joseph's new edition, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Mac and Me, Joseph's wild card pick.
Yeah.
Suspiria remake, Tyler's
Yes.
pick. The Fifth Element from Pete. The Lighthouse from Tyler. Oh, and a little payoff from the Lighthouse auction.
Yeah.
Can one of you guys look up and see what it's currently at? Because it was very high
I
a couple
don't
days
be
in.
Depressed.
Joseph.
Okay.
But our guesses were for the auctioned lamp from the Lighthouse that A24 is auctioning off for charity. Joseph guessed about $15,000 for the final bid. Tyler $25,000, and I guessed $40,000 for the final bid.
God.
Where's it at right now, Joseph?
It's
let's
gotta
see
be.
here.
It's got to be way above our guesses.
$80,000. Starting bid
God
$80,000.
damn it! I knew it.
It's still at $80,000.
Yeah.
No one wants to buy it. They're just like, what the fuck is the Lighthouse? And what am I gonna do with an 800-pound light?
Okay. Oh, we got some descriptions on it. So it's 800 pounds. It's 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide. 6 feet.
Oh, yeah.
6 feet tall.
And the shipping and installation is included in the price of the purchase.
Oh, that's cool. At least they're thinking about the absurdity of buying this goddamn
an
light.
800-pound piece of glass delivered to your house.
Yeah. I mean,
All right,
okay,
so
I mean, just look at the picture of Robert Pattinson looking at the lighthouse, and that's how big it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true to
Yeah.
life.
It's bigger than
1-to-1 scale.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Lighthouse from Tyler, E.T. the Extraterrestrial from Pete.
Wait, is the E.T. one, is that an actual like MacGuffin, or is that like the real movie?
That is
E.T.
That is the real
That's
movie,
Oh,
E.T.
God,
the
I
Extraterrestrial.
forgot. All right.
That's one of my childhood fear movies.
All right, so we got E.T.
The Animal, the Rob Schneider movie from Tyler. That's a wild card pick.
Oh yeah, that's right. I already
Inner
forgot that
Space.
MacGuffin movie.
Inner Space from Joseph.
Yeah.
So this spin will determine what we watch next week. And here we go. The Animal from Tyler.
Oh shit!
Wild card
God
pick.
damn it! I wasn't even. Ah, fuck! I wasn't prepared. Okay, so. All right. So obviously, The Animal is a MacGuffin movie, and so I am happy to announce that we are watching Veronica, directed by Glenn Danzig.
Saw this coming.
And the relation between the two is that they're terrible movies. So
Both have 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So yeah, so watch out for our episode on Veronica and possibly a commentary on this movie.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
We'll do it next week.
Yeah, so Veronica, let me just, I've described it on the show before, but let me just recap. Veronica is an anthology horror movie, the directorial debut by Glenn Danzig, who happens to be one of my favorite artists, and it is...
What is Glenn Danzig known for people who don't know him?
The Misfits and his solo project Danzig, as well as his comic book series called oh fuck, I can't remember what it was, but it has something to do with Veronica. This movie is really bad, unfortunately, but it's funny bad. It's not like just like a bad movie. Like, so just watch out for next week. We'll have some good stuff for this movie. I can't believe we're watching this movie. I am so excited.
All right, cool.
Yay.
Till next week, thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast. Send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com. Tyler's manning our Instagram page. Follow us there for some hot, fresh memes at Middle Class Film Class on Instagram.
Yeah, and you can also send me memes too, whatever, it's... fuck it.
Yeah, good stuff. So next week, we'll watch Veronica, and thanks for listening. Tell your friends.
God, I can't believe we're watching Veronica, but yes, see you later, guys.
See ya.
I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't put pasta in a hot dog bun before and ate it at 3 o'clock in the morning in front of a fridge.